Hello there. Welcome to Empathetic Educators. I'm your host, Naomi Toland, and today we are joined by Henry Burgess, who talks about his learning experiences as a person with autism. I know there's different people who prefer to have different ways that they call themselves if they're talking about how they have autism, but that's the way Henry prefers to be called. So me and Henry met at a seminar that was all about education and neuroscience and the new research about neuroscience. And it was really great to meet him because his approach to life and his experiences really tied in with what I'm trying to achieve with this podcast and with my YouTube channel and just all the resources that I'm trying to create. And some of the sound bites I couldn't even have dreamt up that he would have said. So it was just really nice to have him being so vulnerable and sharing that piece that he wished people understood about him going through school and just his learning experiences so far. It's been really nice to see that vulnerable side of how we can impact on people and how their actions can impact on each other as well. So yeah. Henry starts off by just saying why he wanted to come and be part of the podcast and just a bit of a background towards his learning and just towards his life and his journey itself. So I hope you enjoy his insights just as much as I enjoyed interviewing him. So enjoy.
This is difficult for me, and that's why I'm doing it, but I know it's still within my abilities. It's not something too far out, so I know I can do it, and it'll be an achievement if I do it. So, and I know, while it's difficult, I can learn things by telling you what I've learned.
So you feel like it's an obstacle for you to have this conversation kind of thing, for you to even come here today, probably it's like an obstacle, and it's like something you're achieving for yourself.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, if other people get benefits from it, that's fine, but
that's not your goal.
Because I've already been and done it. Like, if I was at school, it'd be different. Like, if there was immediate changes that could be made, then sure, but...
So, like, your goal is just, this is a challenge for you and you want to overcome it, but like you say, if people do benefit from it, then that's actually like a two-pronged effect towards helping you and also helping people who I'm trying to reach out to as well for our listeners. So
pretty much. Yeah. And whether that's okay to mention, because I think
that's more than okay to mention.
I mean, because there's autism and whatnot, but I'm sick of pretending. People call it like putting on the mask, and it's exhausting. And I try not to do that much anymore, but there's still areas where I still do it because people will freak out. Like the whole empathy thing, I hate it because the whole conversation's been the last 10 years. Oh no, what people with autism do have empathy. We feel it very strongly. I'm not that at all, and it's like completely alienates me.
So what made you, like, you're obviously able to bring it up, and you're obviously able to talk about the fact that you don't feel it. So what made you aware of, like, if you're saying you don't feel it, what made you aware of the actual empathy piece if people are going through it? Is it people talking about it, or? Oh yeah, people talk about it, media stuff. And I was talking with someone who should interview you, who should interview, who I see, who used to work at Autism New Zealand, who's now doing a PhD in autism and employment. So that's the last answer to your question. She's not like a counsellor, but not actually a counsellor, but I see her like a counsellor because she's like one of the people who actually get me. Yeah. But I was talking to her about it and the way she feels about it, and I feel like there's some sort of drive that makes people do those things, and I don't get that. So I actually understand if you're saying that empathy does, so that kind of frustrates you, that word, because you don't feel it, so that makes you feel like annoyed about the fact you don't feel it. Is that that's kind of where you're coming from?
Yeah, because like I mean the thing is when people say people with autism lack empathy, they there's two kinds of empathy. So that they say they're really poor in cognitive empathy, which is I can see your face and I can see that you're sad. And there's emotional empathy, which is supposedly really good in, which is once they know you're in pain, they feel it with you really strongly. And most people are good in both. I think, and people with autism, poor in cognitive and great in emotional. And I'm pretty sure I'm the opposite. Great in cognitive and poor in emotional. Which is, I don't know, but like it makes it up. But that's like a learned and cognitive. It's a learned behaviour. It used to be shocking. So.
And so you're saying about the learned behaviour part of it. So the whole point of me trying to get this together is for people to be able to know what you're saying about it's someone who actually understands you. How do you feel about her understanding you?
I mean, she is completely different empathy-wise, but it's on the spectrum, right? Everyone's a bit different, but she has, when I explain things to her, she understands or digs deeper to understand, but without judgment. Yeah. And that's the key thing.
And do you feel like you've gone up against like people judging you whenever, or even just you judging yourself? Which one do you think it's, or do you think it's both? Or?
It's both. It's really difficult. It's like pretending, and I'm getting really sick of it. And it's really difficult around friends are good because friends understand. Family is difficult, especially extended family. I've become a good friends with, but I now see I'm not having been working for a while now, and well, what's wrong? And there are people in my extended family who have autism who can work. My brother is actually more severely autistic than me, but he's working as an arborist. He's in his own business. My parents are supporting him with all the business side of stuff, but he can do it. And there's lots of things that I've done and run at the level expected of me, in terms of different jobs and that sort of thing. And that doesn't really work for me. I'm really stubborn, and I'll keep working till I break. Okay. And then I'll start again, keep working till I break, and so on and so on. And I kept trying so many different paths. And the last job ended with severe panic attacks and hiding under my boss's truck. And so I was like, at that point, I'm like, well, I probably should do something else. So
that was a good choice to make at the time.
Yeah. So
you don't like pretending, So do you feel people make you pretend, or do you feel like yourself makes?
I feel like I have to pretend. Just to fit in. In the working world, it's all about learning. School is solidly learning, but working world is also learning and then running at what doing what you've learned and doing a job, whatever. But I struggled with actually keeping learning something and keeping it in my mind and having it in my mind the next day.
Okay. Keep it in your mind and did you try and practice strategies to keep it in your mind? What was?
I wrote things down that never worked. I just tried it. I don't know. I'm doing stuff different learning styles and whatnot. Doing stuff wasn't great. I quickly become overwhelmed, and I know I'm rambling, but I got
it's a lot of what you're saying is making sense to actually.
I got a learning needs assessment done by educational psychologists mid last year, and that pointed out very, very low processing speed and working memory. My logical reasoning was off the charts high, but I struggled to keep things in my head and work at a slow speed. So it's a pretty bad combination when you put that sort of thing with jobs with time pressure. So as a result, the psychologist said I shouldn't be in any work that has time pressure whatsoever, which is
not very many jobs.
Yeah, I can't think of any that don't. There's a building job. That ended in the panic attacks, and it was just too much. It was speed, which I couldn't do, and lots of problem solving, which I couldn't do, and together it's terrible.
And you said that you're a part of what you're doing now. I think you mentioned the last day is you're working as part of a team where you're going to a school where they're helping you learn. Is that?
I work in a place it's a supported workplace, which is a place for people with disabilities who otherwise couldn't work in the mainstream setting. So
and where's that?
It's in Dominion Road. It's a Disabled Citizens Society. So yeah.
And what do you do there?
Well, so far just put on washers for roofing screws, but it's like basic jobs. And like the people I work with are often, intellectually disabled, Down syndrome, Tourette's, all sorts of stuff, and learning disabilities and that sort of thing. There are a few people with ASD as well.
And how do you feel about, like, would you rather be in a job where are you happy working in that job, or would you rather be in a job that you're interested in?
Well, at the moment, this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I enjoy it because I can have my noise cancelling headphones on, gets rid of all the sound, and I'm just doing a basic job, and I can actually relax. And it's mind numbing work, but it means I can go to a place for a set amount of hours a day, and do something, and it sets up a good work-like routine, and it builds that self-esteem and self-confidence back into my life, and that's the reason I go. And I would want to move into some sort of part-time work in the future later this year, but it has to be within my ability and not overwhelm me, and that's going to be difficult to find, but it's not something I want to look to just yet, but I want to do this thing first for a while.
Have you ever thought about getting, like, like that neuro place, like that the place we met at last week, the neuro seminars?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of places that are trying to get to know about, because I think the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I think there's a lot of learners who have gone through what you've gone through and are going through what you go through, and I think a lot of places aren't set up to, like, support that and, like, build self-esteem, build self-confidence. Have you ever looked and seen, like, about how you can support those people who are, like, those researchers who are trying to find out more about that brain, more about what's going on? Like, have you looked into that yourself?
No.
Because, like, do you understand about your own brain? Like, is that, like... I know you went to the learning needs, like the learning needs test, and that's all about working memory and the processing. Is that something you'd be interested in, or is that not something that you...
I'd give it a go. I'm always interested in learning more about myself.
That's really cool, though. The fact, like, it must be very frustrating. That's all I can say from what you're explaining to me. It must be very frustrating to keep, but you seem to want to keep trying towards actually finding out more about yourself. Like, that's...
Well, I mean, if I don't, it's like, well, you live with how it is, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can be content in some ways, but when I'm like, it's my own pressures on myself of how I'm meant to be, plus everyone else's or society's pressure on how I'm meant to be. It's a combination that makes it quite difficult, especially around working and doing a lot of things in your day. How you fill up your week, how you live your life. Like, it's difficult because I'm on a supported living payment, and I've tried working in the mainstream and it hasn't worked out, and so trying to fill my week with things that are productive towards my mental and physical health and pushing me in the right direction is difficult when I've basically had a setback after setback after setback in my working life. And it's difficult. The psychologist last year basically described, when I told him about my building job, he described the whole thing back to me as a trauma. So it's, hearing it like that from an expert is just like, okay then. But it's difficult because when I go try to help my parents out and do some painting or something, and I pick up a paintbrush and I just have a reaction, I just can't do it, and I have to get out there.
But that's because you're like you said, like, your body's getting setback after setback, so your body's stopping yourself, even because, like, your body naturally wants to protect yourself, so it's trying to protect you from, like, getting that setback, and that's, like, the frustrating part. Have you ever been in a job where it actually did help you? I know, like, it was setback after setback, but was there any jobs that you actually felt, this company's really helped me, or, like, this is set up that I possibly could succeed in that? Like, I'm trying to get my head around what, like, could be successful or what could support.
Well, like, all the jobs I've had have been set up by family. Like, I've never sort of got something on my own. But it's, and from most of the big ones I've had funding from, like I get funding from Taikura Trust, which is set up by the Ministry of Social Development, I think, and or something like that. And it's a government agency, and I get funding for my autism. It's called like individualised funding or something like that. And some of that goes towards my employer. So it's like a way of sort of mentoring me in life skills and that sort of thing. And so it's basically heavily subsidised in their favour, so they're more likely to keep me on. Like a lot of, like mainly the building job, I would have been fired ages ago if it wasn't for that.
Yeah. But I suppose that's a positive in a way to try and support.
It's exactly for that. But the job was killing me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep sticking it out
to see if you for yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
but it was just breaking me. But I just kept going, trying to learn new ways to sort things out, to learn things. And
that's so determined for you though. Like that's like, even though you are getting those step back, that's a really good attitude to have for yourself to keep.
Yeah,
I know you can say there are other options, but still, like, it's still a good outlook.
I mean, the problem is I didn't know when to stop.
Yeah.
And I just go till I break, and that's what I'm trying to get better at now. Like now that I'm sort of at the bottom on supported living payment and I'm working in a supported workplace, I feel like I'm starting like right at the bottom, and I know it's a good thing for me, and I'm a lot more relaxed now, and it's so I'm looking forward to a good year, and just taking things slowly and easy for me, and just giving myself a break, not giving myself a hard time.
To go through like that kind of like way, and like that, and it's about what way you react towards getting back up again. I think that's like the good part is actually like the way you react towards getting back up again, but it's about knowing yourself. I think that's the main thing I'm trying to achieve in this thing is getting people to get a voice, but also being more aware and making other people aware so they can support the people who might be going through it as well. And I think like you're saying, like you said, how we are meant to be. And that's like the worst thing, I think, that like the people feel, not even just like who've got autism or who have disability or who have like different needs, have different like learn differences, like we looked at the other way. How we're meant to be, I think a lot of people, whether or not you have it or don't, that's the way society kind of like acts like. That's what everyone kind of has that precedence towards, this is what we have to be, this is what we have to do. And I think the more we can make other people aware of actually what happens to the people who don't have that awareness, and when they are getting put down or they are not getting told the strategies to help them, that's the difficult part.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to understand is there anything that you have seen maybe be successful or you wish people did understand? Like, say you could picture like a perfect working environment for you, and you could picture like something that really catered to your needs and like what you're noticing yourself this year, and you're looking for a really good year. What type of job do you think would be successful in helping you get to that?
Well, I don't know what kind of job, but I know the conditions, and it's really just sort of on my own. But with, say, like a supervisor or something, someone teach me how to do something, repeating it many times, and making sure I can do it before they leave me alone, and just putting on my headphones and having quiet and just slowly working away, doing whatever that task is, and it can be something mind-numbing over and over again. I don't care, but it basically, if I can have something that has some sort of skill, preferably, and don't be too mind-numbing, that will give me some, I suppose, good feelings that I'll say, I've produced this, and this has helped this person, or whatever. And it's just that feeling that I've done something good and productive that I'm after. But it needs to be in a quiet space with, if people are around, and really need to understand and not judge, because it's so difficult being in that space where I'm trying to learn, and it's just really difficult. And if someone comes in and sees a negative comment, it just destroys it straight away, and it takes forever to recover.
I really, that statement is so perfect. Understand and not judge. Like that's, and you have to build and understand, and I think before you can actually understand and not judge, because I think like you say about how we have to be, people see this thing as like how we have to be, and then they're going to judge you against the way they think everything should be. But then if you try to get people to build their own empathy, and like that word, but that is actually what we're trying to build, is people's understanding towards understanding of people.
Yeah, I'm not very good at doing it towards others, but having people do it towards me is a lifesaver.
No, it is. It is a really important. And like I know you're saying about you've got a lot of factors towards coming here, but this voice that you're portraying towards other people and like letting people know how this impacts you and how it impacts like on your life. This you might think it's life saving towards you, but actually it's actually helping other people to understand what it actually causes towards those people who we're trying to like link out to and reach out to for our listeners. So I think we were maybe talking about what do you like, I know you're saying about what conditions would work, and there probably isn't a lot of future jobs now are about being collaborative and about like working in that environment,
fast-paced environment. It's completely opposite to what I actually need, and it's something I can't do.
So it's maybe something that it could be a potential for looking to see what jobs, even just having a bank of jobs, I suppose. Like I'm sure there's jobs out there like I think on top of my head, there's people who like do painting still, people who like do woodwork and that kind of thing. That's quiet, that's like independent, that's kind of thing. So have you ever tried any of those jobs? That's just top of my own head, just thinking about what.
I can't draw. Like I have done quite a bit of photography stuff in the past, and I actually did photography in the studio. Ran my own business doing that, but I can't stand it anymore. And I've sold all my gear and I'm just not interested. Woodworking, I have done a bit of that with my dad, and so I was in building, so it's like large woodwork. But I'm not good with my hands in terms of fine motor skills and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure. Like the things I like doing are like getting out in the bush and hiking and walking up streams and stuff. But then last year I got diagnosed with osteoporosis, so my bones are stuffed. So I can't really go do that on my own. I have to take people with me. So if I fall over, I might break my hip or something. So having someone with me is a good idea. But for like workplaces and physical jobs, it's a bad idea now because of the chance of injury. So it's just another thing that just takes away opportunities.
That's frustrating. I can see when you say about like the frustrating part, I can like it's not for no reason that you're like that does make sense why you're feeling that way. Have you seen any jobs that like you have seen work out now? Like even for your the supported workplace. That's supported workplace.
It used to be called sheltered workshops, and now supported workplace.
And have you seen anything from that? I know you said it's a repetitive job. Have you seen anything from that you've been interested in?
Not yet. I haven't been there long enough. Actual jobs I can't actually begin to think of until I'm really set at this place, working away and got a good routine going, and then at that point, when I'm feeling good, I can look forward to something else. But now it's difficult.
And have you? Whenever you were saying about now you're getting to know yourself because of working with this, and you're taking a step back and you're going a lot slower, was that a possibility whenever you were at school? What was his name? The boy we met last week. Joe. Yeah. You went to the same school. Was that something that was achievable during that time? No.
It's school. You're surrounded by 20, 30 other kids, and you've got to do what you got to do, and it's everyone talking away or whatever, but it's just you never had the chance to actually do it your way ever. The only ways you could do, like I remember in year 13 photography class, I hated the way that the course was laid out. Like for the main project, to basically research these artists and come up with these ideas and photograph your ideas and start these ideas and form like a big concept towards the end on your boards.
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't need other people to come up with ideas.
Yeah.
This is silly. And ended up basically coming up with this idea and photographing the entire thing first, and then going backwards and saying, oh, like the teacher's like, you have to tell me you got it from these people and do this. I was like, I didn't. And I basically failed my whole F13 photography year on principle because I wouldn't lie.
That's like so backwards. That's it's like a system that you have to follow, and you were like, no, that's not
it was wrong. It didn't make any sense. So,
well, I'm glad you failed then.
I didn't need the credit, so it was fine. I could afford to, but I was so angry about it. I just refused to do it. It just felt completely wrong.
Well, hopefully the system is changing, and that's what we're trying to like find this out about. Is actually like trying to get away from the system, but it is trying to change and be more empathetic towards people. And I think, like you say, there's 30 other children around you, so it's hard for people to actually notice you going through it. Was there any teacher that you ever connected with, or you like? It'd be good to know, like maybe something that would have been a strength, and maybe if all teachers had that, then you would have more tools to be set up with.
I mean,
was there any?
In music, like when I could play my guitar and do my own thing, and whatever my performance was all right, you know, like there was no, because it's a sort of a judge by like technical ability, but then also feel.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like, there's wiggle room to do a bit more, express yourself a bit more, and do your own thing a bit more. In subjects where you got science or English or whatnot, there's a right answer and a wrong answer.
Yeah.
You can't do that so much, and so therefore there's a clear right and a clear wrong. With music or photography, there isn't so much.
Yeah. So it's not exactly a teacher, but it's a subject. It's the subject that allowed you to be more towards what like helped you towards being like that.
Because the learning was different. Like it was self-driven learning as opposed to this is what the answer is, or so this is what the topic is. This is how you work through it, how you understand it. It's all I suppose linear thinking. I couldn't do it because I'd stumble on the first step and couldn't understand it in the middle. The second step I couldn't. Never get it, but with musical photography, it was try this, try that, keep going, look, try, and it doesn't matter if you stuff up because you're still learning, and the next step can make sense because there's no linear path.
Yeah.
So that could be onto something. Linear learning for me is bad. More freedom to learn is good.
You're definitely on something, because this is something that like helps me even as a teacher able to see how me directing towards someone like that and saying this is what you have to do next, that's going to get them into a state of I can't do it, even with if it's more free flowing, then it's able to be accepted.
In a way, like linear learning could be good in that quiet environment where it's just learning, understanding, not judging, giving them a chance to actually do it at their own pace. As soon as you force that bond and force it forward, you're going to lose them.
You've created so many sound bites on this. It's ridiculous. Like much like
I was saying that, I'm like
crazy. No, not the really good sound bites. Like that's exactly what we're going to achieve.
But I know, just as I was saying, it's like, oh, shit, this is going to be enough stuff.
No. It's so good. Like it's, and I think so. What would you say? So that you're saying maybe you could possibly achieve linear. Like say for example, this is something I use with my kids. Like if they're struggling to do, with that, I might break it down into steps. I'm just wondering if like what you've tried out, what you haven't tried, what does work for you, what doesn't work for you, and like breaking down into steps. And like you're saying, keeping on rewinding it. So I would record myself doing a lesson so they can go back and check the step that like I just talked about, and recording the lesson so that they're driving themselves. Say like, okay, I'm stuck at this part. Okay, I need to watch back and see what the teacher done. Okay, then I've got that part. I'm going to practice that. Okay, I need to go back and check it again to see what they've done. Would that be something you feel would suit like that linear self-directed task, or is that not? Like
it. Well, the thing that's popping into my mind is everyone else in the room.
Yeah.
And it's like if I was one-on-one, yes, then that'll work. With everyone around, it's difficult to sort of I don't know, be seen that you're needing extra help.
And it goes back to like how we're meant to be and how we're
you feel that extra pressure. People may not be watching you, but you feel like they are. The social situation around learning in classrooms and whatnot, that's what I find difficult. And I never really talked to anyone, and like in class and that sort of thing. Like I had friends, I wasn't a total loner, but yeah, no, I can't really remember much, but I always knew I stayed quiet in class and just kept my head down and basically freaked out inside. But I passed most things and scraped through school. But anyway, I'm just that's
the thing you said back to me whenever I said that was about the social awareness, and even you recognising that if you're the only person doing it and everyone else isn't, that's going to put yourself put a person into social anxiety because they're feeling like I'm the only one doing it. So that's definitely something we can take back and be like, right, okay, so if it's something that we're trying to introduce, it's the whole class trying to do it, not just that one person focusing on it. That's like a good takeaway as well for us to look at.
Those sorts of environments can be really challenging themselves, and it doesn't work. And if you lose a student, I reckon a lot of learning disabilities spiral and end up, people thinking they're bad people, and those are the criminals to find. Just because they've had difficulty in school and it's just spiraled into thinking they're a bad person or they're stupid or something like that, and they end up doing bad things.
I agree. And it's like with the judging part, what you said in the very start, it was like understand, not judge. And it's like if people feel like they're getting judged 24/7, they're going to feel like, well, they're obviously judging me for a reason then. And it comes into a negative spiral towards actually like going. And I think that's, again, coming back to the more we can understand. Like you said, literally, the more we understand and not judge, that's exactly what we're trying to build up as teachers, parents, adults, anyone who's interacting, just even children interacting and like not judging and being like, okay, that's the way they are, that's what they need.
I mean, when I was in high school, I couldn't have told you any of this.
No.
No way. But now, like the last 6 or 7 years or so, it's just been, I've learned so much about myself, and it's been really difficult, and I'm pleased. Now got some. I'm taking myself a bit more seriously and giving myself a break, and starting at the bottom and really working up. And I feel really good at the moment.
That's amazing. I think that's really, really amazing to hear. What age are you?
26.
Yeah, I think like I'm the same. Like I'm the same age, and like I think the more older we get as well, the more I'm feeling. Even like this year, I'm like feeling a lot more like I can understand myself and give myself a bit more of a break. I feel like you might take baggage from primary school or secondary school and you hold on to it and think that's you definitely, like that's it, that's what you do. I feel like maybe the older that we get, the more we take a step back and actually be like, it's okay,
it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay like how we are meant to be and all that kind of thing. And I think the more older you get, the more it's actually you can take a step back and be like, what do I need? Not thinking about other people and what they need, actually thinking about what I need and what I need to do going forward for it. And it's like, I'm actually really happy that so do you feel like maybe the last year, 2 years, you've been like really understanding yourself, or you've been really focusing on it for a while?
I think I came out of my depression in the start of 2016, which was around the time I started in this building job. I started to really focus on myself. Like, well, before that, I was trying to push myself out of depression and whatnot, and doing all sorts of good things. But it's only at the start of 2016 that I started to feel really good about myself, and I started to learn more about myself and autism and stuff. And I met 2 great friends that actually taught me how to hug and how to enjoy hugging. And it seems like such a stupid or little thing for people, and to me it was massive. And there were 2 times I remember, this is the moment where I get to use that. Like I'd actually come across this girl who was probably our age, who'd rolled a car, and I was first on scene. And one night along Thames Coast, around Coromandel, and found her in her car and just rolled in. She was okay, but she was like sort of in shock and on the corner of a blind corner. And I was like, should have to get her out of here. Threw a rock through the back window, helped her out, got to the side of the road. And I'm like, thinking, oh, this is a moment where I could hug her. And then I hugged her, and then she burst into tears, and like I was thinking, yes! I was like so happy, and I was just thinking of my friends, like thinking, thank you. And so, like little things like that, I started to learn more about, and got better and that sort of thing. And that was great. And I mean, my life outside of building was amazing. It's just slowly the building stuff wore me down. I started to learn a lot more about myself and my autism and that sort of thing.
That's really cool, the fact you like again understand, not judging, like your friends are actually understanding you and being like, this is what you can do. Was it actually like a checklist of like, this is appropriate times to be a hug, this is not appropriate times to hug?
Yeah, and it was really great because it was for the first time I could really see things a lot clearer, and it felt great.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Like, that's like you understanding yourself and actually taking it in on a level as well. So, was she okay? Was it?
Oh yeah, no, other than the Carol stuff.
Yeah,
she had a few cuts and bruises, and that was about it. So she was quite lucky. She probably to roll in that corner, you had to go about 80, 90 k's. Like, it's a very wide corner. And her car ended up on the wrong side of the road on a blind corner, so it was very dicey.
Oh, well, she's lucky that she didn't. Nothing came about it. It's happy days. Well, I think you've answered a lot of what, even without even meaning to, you've answered like little sound bites. You've answered some really cool things that we can take away for that. I think you deserve your little cookie for takeaway. I don't know if you like cookies or if you like. You can give it to someone. Cookies. Yeah, we can give it to someone.
Oh yeah, no, I'll eat that.
Yeah, because it's top tips takeaway that we kind of like have some top tips and you get a takeaway as well. So I think you've kind of said everything about like what you want people to understand. Is there anything else, maybe just to help other people? Is there anything you wish that people would like have as takeaways, just to kind of? I really like that understand, not judge. That's probably like the biggest takeaway that we can take away from this. But just what might have helped you in your secondary school? I know you can't remember every single thing, but just even the understanding piece, what teachers could do, or what like parents can do.
Well, I think it was because my brother was more autistic than me, or had more issues around learning, or rather because he got noticed more, because when he had a problem, he externalized it, and I internalized it. I was really struggling, and I feel like the experts, the people who diagnosed me and whatnot, should have had put more emphasis on that I actually do need help, because for the most part through my schooling I didn't, because it didn't look like I had anywhere near the level of need that my brother did. But he's the one working now, and I'm the one who's not. And so it's difficult. I didn't get the extra support I was entitled to throughout school. I had a learning needs support assessment done when I was 19, and that psychologist recommended that I should have had a reader-writer throughout my entire schooling, which I didn't have. So I think the takeaway thing is to take a diagnosis seriously and throw all the help at it you can get.
Great, thank you so much, Henry. That's right. Like it's been really, really great to have you on here, and I hope that it starts. You're saying about you as a repercussion, you might be helping people, but I definitely hope it starts a chain of people actually.
I do have one more thing.
What?
I know in your little email you sent me a little quote to live by or whatever. Don't get nibbled to death by ducks. And it says all these little things that happen to you can add up and overwhelm you. And when you notice things starting to overwhelm you, step back and take some time for yourself and regroup and go for it again. Don't get nibbled to death by ducks.
Don't get nibbled to death by ducks. I love it. Oh, don't let everything eat away at you. That's amazing. I love it. Love it.
It's not mine. It's a well-known phrase.
Yeah.
Well, not that well-known, obviously.
I definitely have never heard of getting nibbled to death by dogs before. So I love the meaning behind it. Oh, Henry, thank you so much. That's been really, really great. Really great.
Wow. I just loved the fact that Henry was so honest and so vulnerable about his struggles as well as his triumphs. And it really resonated with me. Like, the best takeaway I got was whenever he said, understand, not judge. I couldn't think of a better statement to try and describe what I'm trying to achieve with this podcast. Just to try and, the more that we can understand what people are going through, and the more that we can build our knowledge and about research about what they're actually going through and what they're saying, that's going to help us not judge them. That's the main point. And I think sometimes we don't even realise that we are coming with our own preconceived ideas about what we think should happen, or what we think they should be going through, what we think people should be doing. And that's a judgment. And that's why I said to Henry is people don't try and do it as like a negative. They don't try. People are trying to have the best interest at heart. But if you really take a step back and really try and understand what that learner's going through, what that child's going through, rather than trying to fix it, that actually slowing down process is a really good part as well. So I think that conversation just, I couldn't believe it. Like I said, with the sound bites that I just was capturing, that he is in a journey of learning himself. And the biggest thing was, whenever we were talking the very first time in that Neurological Society seminar, he was just saying that I wish I knew these strategies before now. So rather than him having to go through and find out himself, how as we as teachers, how as we as parents, how as we as therapists, or how are we actually putting those strategies in place whenever they're in primary school, whenever they're in secondary school, so then they're ready to be an adult and ready to be independent. Because that was another thing that I noticed whenever he said that, I said to him, oh, it's really good that you kept trying, and that was my mindset. But actually he said, but by me trying, I was putting myself near breaking point. So then that made me reflect as well of like, what does it mean to be determined? If you keep going, keep trying, that can also be not yourself being aware of what you need to do next. And I haven't got the answer to that, but it definitely planted a seed in my head about what am I expecting and how am I understanding what they're going through before I jump to the next step. So yeah, I just thought it was, in 30 minutes he couldn't have summed up more of what I'm trying to achieve in this podcast. So I really enjoyed it. So I hope that, I wonder what your takeaways were, what planted a seed in your head. And if you want to get in contact, you can make a link, #BuzzingBrains, or contact me on Twitter at Naomi_Toland. And as always, I'll follow this up with a link on my blog that you can find down below. And that'll have all the links to different places that we've mentioned in the podcast, as well as different things that you can look at. So yeah, loved it. Loved this session so much. And I think I got a lot of takeaways from it as well. So I hope you did too. See you next week.